Hey there everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for joining me. We are going to be working with rags. Now, you could have your own strips of fabric rags, maybe t-shirt material, that sort of thing. What I had done in the summer, at the end of the summer, when these rag rugs were on sale for like $6, I picked up a couple. Because I knew that I had a number of projects that I was going to want to work on. So these are a couple that are left over from a previous project, a couple of the strips. But here's what we're going to do. Let's put one off to the side to start. Oh, and there's some pieces of that one. I want to get some red out because it's Christmas. So I want to do some with some red. So I'm just going to take a couple of pairs of scissors, just one pair of scissors. And I'm just going to start by running it down the seam, which is very easy to do. And once I get this one done, everything else falls into place. So you can already see them starting to release here, and they just pull out ultimately. So we don't have to cut between every seam to release our fabric. We just got to get it started. And then they start just pulling out. So I wanted some of this red, so I need that black off to the side, get a little bit more of the red happening. And once you've got them started, there's just no problem with it. You've got an open space and they just pull apart now, which is perfect. I have a bunch of my colors pulled. I can pull more as I go. What we want to do is start with some kind of a cone. So you can start with a cardboard cone. You could make your own from cardboard. You could start with a little styrofoam cone. Let's start with the styrofoam one because it'll be a little quicker. And what we're going to do is we are just going to start it off with a little bit of hot glue. Glue that tip in place. And then we're going to start wrapping it. So we're just going to be turning this, and I just like to use a bit more hot glue at the beginning to make sure that things are adhered, staying in place. You could start from the bottom if you want to. I just tend to usually start from the top. If you've cut your own pieces, then you're going to want to make sure they're kind of wrapped into place. But once we've got that tip anchored, we're not going to have to glue all the time. I like to take some of the glue periodically to be able to wrap. Now here, this piece is coming out, so I want to turn that a little bit more. And I like to do it fairly tight. But we're going to wrap this and continue going until we need to add another color. Now, if you wanted to add another color sooner, then you could start with a smaller piece. You could cut it off. You know what? It's all up to you. I kind of know where we're going. So I started with the red. And part of it's going to depend upon which way you're going. So with this project, we can make a tree, or we can make little gnomes. And I'm going to show you both. So, gluing my fingers together. So once we've got that part done, we just pick up another color that we want to use, whatever it happens to be, and we're going to start gluing it in place. I like to overlap it with the previous piece. And we're just going to start wrapping it the same way. Now, when you get to the end, you can opt to wind it around your base, leave it open. I like to determine, you could just have, this could be your tree, right? You could decorate it up, add a little star, do whatever you'd like to it. You could add a base to it. So I just happen to have this little turned base. And what I do is I'm just going to glue that in place and then do a wrap of cloth around it so it's going to look finished. But it doesn't make sense unless I'm leaving this in its entirety. If I'm going to add a base, then I add the base, and then I just add as much fabric as I need to be able to cover it. And here usually I just go for little pieces, but I don't think I have a little piece yet because I just got started. Okay, so if we are leaving this as a tree, you could be done. You could add a little star, you could maybe add a little glued on embellishments, you could leave it as it is and make a little forest of these. However, another option, and I like the idea of having both trees and this step, which we're gonna make a little gnome. I like having both. And having all of them kind of mixed and matched. So some are trees and some are little gnomes. But what we need is we need a little bit of fur. So you could take something like this fur roll that I have from the dollar store because it's probably wide enough to do a beard. Or you can take beard scraps that you happen to have. So in whatever color it happens to be, right? Let's go for kind of a creamy color. And I've just got kind of this spiky piece. So let's just cut this across and we'll make this work. So all that we need to do I don't need his beard to be so long. So let's shorten it a little. I'll give him a little bit of a beard trim here. And we just want to see how wide we want to make it. And if that's okay. So I want to just trim a little bit at the top where the fur is not. There we go. And I'm just going to, I get to make his beard a little bit longer because we have that base on there. So I'm just going to glue that beard on, and I don't need it. This is where you start getting all the beard hairs. I don't need it to be all glued, just across the top, right? I can let this kind of free flow. There we go. And to make him look a little bit more gnome-like, I have little pom-poms that I've got from the dollar store. And I just want to see which, I think I like the darker red color for him. And you could do it in, I got a bag, there's some white, there's some red, there's some black, blue. You could give him a nose in whatever color you'd like because ultimately he's your gnome. So I just want to tease a little bit of hair up. I'm going to put a dab of glue there. And then stick his nose in. And he could be done. So cute little gnome that you can have sitting amongst a tree. I like to, I'm just going to do a dab of glue at the top, and from a different little pack of pom-poms from the dollar store, I'm just going to add a little pom-pom at the top. Other options though, you know, you could add a little bit of trim across the top with maybe an old sock, or you could do an alternating kind of fur for a little hat, but you could just call it quits at this and just have a cute little gnome for Christmas. I'm going to do the same thing now for the big one. Obviously, it's not going to have a base, but I'm going to get him wound. Let me do him and come back at you with a couple of little options here that I might try. So for this big one, now that we've got it done, you can see I didn't do all of the wrapping up to the top because I have this sock from the dollar store. And what I'm looking to do, and one of the reasons I did his beard a little bit in the taupey shade, was just so that we could see the contrast here of using this as a bit of his hat. So what I want to do, and I'm not gonna have it all hanging here, so what I want to do is just get that glued down into place. There we go. Pull it up. I want to feel where the tip of that goes. And I'm going to cut it off, which just happens to coincide with that bigger scissors. Just happens to coincide with the heel there, which is perfect. This is very thick. And this is lined. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an elastic. I just have the big honking one. And I'm gonna tie that around the top. I just wanna pull the excess fluff off from cutting it. I can trim it up to shape it a little bit. And then I'm gonna get a piece of red ribbon, probably red, and tie that around him. And we have a bigger gnome. These little guys are super cute, but super easy to make. And if you already have either like some t-shirt scraps or old t-shirts that instead of turning into rags, you turn into some of these, or some of these really old rag rugs, this is a great use for them. Now, I had bought my rag rugs on sale at the end of the summer season from Yisk, that JYSK place. I'm just even shortening the initials. And I think I paid $5 or $6 for the rug. That gives me tons of these rag pieces to be able to use for a lot of different projects. I used them earlier in the summer. This is another project that I was looking forward to doing with them, and one that I think is super cute. If you've still got some bazaars coming up and you want some last minute crafts to be able to sell, these are super fast and easy, inexpensive to make. So something that is an easy pick up and buy for little money and go. You can do them even with smaller little styrofoam trees, you know, even smaller than this one, or smaller cones that you make, and you could pop in a ribbon so that you've got them as little lightweight ornaments to be able to hang from the tree as well. So lots of options for you. I think they're super cute. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from you. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.